As usual, modders continue to keep the Fallout 4 modding scene alive, and this week, we've got some truly amazing mods to check out. These are going to include your usual armors and weapons, but also some fun other little goodies that are going to make the game a little bit more fun to play around in. Now, before we get into all of the cool new mods, I just wanted to note that if you're interested in the videos I do here on YouTube or the mods that I make myself over on the Nexus, and you'd like to support my work directly, you can do so using the link down in the description to check me out over on Patreon. It's the best way to support my work if you're into that kind of thing, but of course that is completely optional, just something that's available if you wish to do so. Now then, let's go ahead and jump into the really cool mods because we have some fun stuff to check out. Starting off with Tumbajamba's Sniper Rifle and Gunner Ghillie Armor by Tumbajamba. This is going to add a new armor set into the game, technically 2 new armor sets, and a brand new weapon that you can go find for your character, your settlers, or whatever you want. That's the beauty of Fallout. You kind of get to do what you will with this, whether you put it on settlers or whatever. Now, this is going to add a gunner-themed set of armor. So if you're playing a gunner character, or you just want to spice up the gunner leveled list, this is going to make a really, really cool addition to your game. The base set of armor is going to be sort of a sniper outfit, offering a pretty good amount of protection with some shoulder pads, a chest piece, and pretty good leg protection, as well as a pretty cool helmet with an integrated eyepiece, but it's also going to be covered in ghillie wrap to make you blend in with the environment pretty well. The standard version of this armor is going to be a pretty bright green, but there is another version of this armor as well that's going to change up the colors a little bit. When it comes to the standard set of armor, it will start dropping from gunners at level 20, so it is integrated into the level list, which I love to see with Tumbajamba's armors. A long time ago, he used to be doing pretty standard integration on the chemistry station or just add it to your inventory, but now that we're starting to see these actually appear on enemies, that makes me really excited to add this into my game. Additionally though, there is a new set of this armor that is unique. Rather than being a standard set that is worn by gunners, this is going to be found on a specific boss who is also carrying the brand new sniper rifle, which is going to have some pretty interesting green and red accents. Now, what's pretty interesting is that if you want to find this boss, you're actually going to need to head all the way over to Far Harbor, as they're not technically a normal gunner. They're going to have a bit of a different aesthetic. They're going to have some really nice tan ghillie that goes with this armor that looks honestly a little bit cooler than the base one to me. This is one that I might actually be hunting down in order to get this armor set for myself. Now, Far Harbor seems like a weird place to put this boss, but it's actually going to make a lot of sense since this armor is going to be using a lot of Far Harbor assets, since it does make use of some of the marine armor parts that have been retextured for this armor set. So it's a pretty good idea to get the most bang out of your buck. If you're going to be using Far Harbor as a requirement, you might as well use it for more than one thing. That's definitely a philosophy I apply to my mods, and so I like to see that being used in others as well. What's really cool about this unique armor set is that when you do decide to crouch, if you are crouching and standing still, your character will turn invisible. Once you start moving around, it will make you go back to normal, but the invisible ability on a sniper set of ghillie armor is really, really cool. Built-in stealth mechanics, I think, are absolutely awesome. As well as that included sniper rifle, which is basically just an upgraded version of the regular sniper rifle with a different aesthetic. It's a pretty nice little package. If you're playing a sniper character, or even if you're just playing a gunner character, I think this is a great mod to add into your load order. Super lore friendly, really, really cool. It adds a lot of new life to the game, especially as far as the gunners are concerned. And having a new boss to go hunt down is always a welcome addition in my book. Now, the next mod that we're checking out is going to be known as the Cooper Outfit Standalone. This is going to add the Cooper Howard armor into the game. That's going to be the Cooper Howard armor from the Fallout TV show. Probably everybody's favorite character and favorite aesthetic from the show. This is going to be a nice Western duster complete with a sweet shotgun bandolier, a bunch of pouches, and overall just a nice rugged wasteland aesthetic while still having some of that Western charm. This is something that you would see fit perfectly in New Vegas, but honestly, it works pretty well in Fallout 4 too, especially with the Minutemen being around as a faction. Now, weirdly enough, this mod does not come with a hat, and that's because you're intended to just use this with the standard old militia hat in Fallout 4, and honestly, they pair together really, really well. If you want to roleplay as the ghoul, you can download a ghoulified mod that will allow you to transform your race into a ghoul, or you can just use this as a nice Western outfit for your character, which is what I did. You can pair this with any Western guns, and it's going to make a really, really cool looking aesthetic. Something that's really interesting is that this does come with a built-in weapon on the back, which is going to be a nice little mare's leg. And if you're using classic holstered weapons, it'll actually cross whatever weapon you have with this one, so you're carrying 2 weapons on your back, which is a really neat look. Even though this is intended to be a very specific armor set for a character from the show, I think this works as a really, really cool Western set that you could use for pretty much any character. There's nothing about it that's too iconic. It is a pretty standard looking cowboy set of armor. Now, my only complaint with this armor mod is the integration. If you want to get your hands on this thing, it's actually just found right outside of Vault 111 in the exterior cabin, which is definitely not the most immersive way to integrate this armor set. It makes it very easy to get, but you know me, I like my integration. I like it to feel like it fits in the world. So I would love to have seen this either as a new Western armor that's maybe added to leveled lists, or as a rare drop, or maybe integrate it into the Minutemen, or just have it purchasable from vendors. Maybe that would be the best option for something like this. Either way, though, that's a pretty simple fix and something that you could easily edit in Xedit or the Creation Kit. It is still a very nice set of armor that you can download and use for yourself, whether you're just trying to roleplay, or maybe you want to have more Western armor options in your game. Moving on, though, we've got something really, really fun. This is going to be the Tesla barrel for the Fallout London Lewis gun by Selakii. Now, this is not going to be an all-new weapon. You may have noticed some time ago that we got a new Lewis gun from the Fallout London team, which is going to be sort of a weird hybrid Lewis gun design that had some interesting energy weapon attachments. Now, Selakii has taken that idea and made a really, really cool new one with a lot of time and care put into the attachment design, and that is going to be the Tesla barrel, which adds a nice electrified barrel that you can throw onto this gun to make it into a proper energy weapon with a nice, huge battery powering it. The aesthetic for this thing looks super cool and super Fallout. And it's going to have a really cool projectile as well. It will not change the ammo type. You're still using bullets, which is kind of a weird idea, but I guess that's how the rest of them work in the vanilla mod. But it is going to have a nice electrical arc that will stream out in a super high rate of fire and will arc from enemy to enemy. This thing is a ton of fun to use. It's super satisfying. And as far as energy weapons go, this one is pretty dang cool. Sort of like a Tesla RCW type of weapon. It's like the RCW from New Vegas, but a Lewis gun and electric. It's pretty dang cool. Installing this mod is as easy as can be. As long as you have the Lewis gun and you install this mod, they will work together. You head over to the weapons workbench once you've obtained a Lewis gun, and the attachment will be right there. It is a little bit expensive. It requires some perks and parts, but that's not too bad. If you're using a Lewis gun, you probably are already pretty late in the game and have most of the crafting requirements already. Once you have all the pieces and you've crafted the part, you have a really, really cool late game energy weapon that's going to pack a lot of damage and have a pretty high rate of fire. This thing is a lot of fun to use, and besides that, it's just sort of a fun new energy weapon. You can treat it like a brand new weapon mod if you're not using the Lewis gun already, and if you are, then it's a nice add-on that makes it have some more fun and flair. Perfect for some sort of a mechanical character who likes to craft and make goofy weapons. The next mod is a pretty simple one, but a very, very good one, and that is the Institute Baton by EvTital. This is going to be a retractable baton that has the full swing out animations, that has a ton of different skins and attachment options, and it's intended to be used by the Institute. The Institute never really gets any love, doesn't get a ton of weapon mods, but this is going to be a very simple one that's very, very nice. We've actually seen some Institute batons in the past, but this one is going to be completely custom with brand new models and textures, tons of different texture options, so you can have it not be for the Institute. And it's also going to have a ton of attachments that change the way the weapon functions and the way the weapon looks, including some heated attachments as well as electrified attachments that will actually display a different effect on the weapon, like a cool heating rod that goes down the line of the shaft of this weapon, as well as an electrified option as well that has some really, really cool shocking effects. It is a pretty standard melee weapon in terms of its attachments. It is going to be pretty cool that it has some skins. You can have this be sort of a military baton or a police baton, or if you want to keep it true to its original nature, you can have it be the Institute Baton. You can have it be scratched up and dinged up, or you can have it be really, really fresh and new with its paint job. If you want to get your hands on this baton, it can be crafted at the chemistry station, or you can have it replace the vanilla baton that is occasionally used by the Institute synth, so that they will have their own baton that makes a lot more sense, which is a pretty cool and immersive replacement that I think makes a lot of sense. It's just something that adds to the world and makes it make a little bit more sense. So even if you're not going to use this weapon, it's something that could be nice to add as a sort of immersive booster for your game, make everything a little bit more cohesive and make a little bit more sense. Besides that, it's a pretty simple melee weapon, one that's just nice to throw into your game and forget about it because it's just going to add to your world and make it a little bit of a nicer place to be. And finally, we have one more mod to check out, and that's going to be the MCPR 300 from Modern Warfare 2022 by OzzyTheRaven. This is going to be a brand new, big, beefy bolt-action sniper rifle that is going to have a pretty modern aesthetic, but it is a very satisfying weapon to use. This thing packs a punch, does an immense amount of damage, has a ton of different attachment options, skin options, and even uniques that are all really, really cool. In the short time that I was playing Call of Duty, this is actually a weapon that I use quite a bit, and so having a mod for it in Fallout 4 is pretty dang fun. Especially with how satisfying the animations and sound design are, this thing is really, really cool to use. Before we get into the specifics, I just want to note that this thing actually has a Ghillie version of this weapon that is painted green and has some Ghillie wrap over the scope that would be perfect for the Ghillie sniper outfit that we had on the episode prior. If you were to combine these two together, you have a pretty cool set that I think looks really, really awesome. Now then, since this is a Call of Duty port, don't expect any fancy integrations like super immersive leveled lists. Instead, if you want to get your hands on this thing, it's going to be crafted over at the chemistry station, which is pretty standard for weapons like this. Additionally, while you're there, you'll find versions not only for the regular gun, but a lot of the uniques that are going to be represented as some of the skins that you can buy in Call of Duty. Simply craft whichever ones you want, take it over to a weapons workbench, and have fun customizing this thing. It is available to be used with iron sights, so you can have this as sort of an infantry carbine, although it would be a pretty beefy carbine considering this thing has a very huge round, and that round is custom to this mod. It's going to be 300 Magnum. So if you want to get that, you're actually going to need to make some of that over at the chemistry station as well, since it won't be added to the leveled lists. This mod also makes use of see-through scopes and tactical reload, another standard for these modern Call of Duty weapons, so if you're using those, then this should fit right at home in your load order, and if you're not, you may want to pick those up so you get the most out of this gun if possible. You can actually technically use this mod without either of those, but you are going to be missing out on a lot of features. You aren't going to be able to have that fancy tactical reload animation, and you aren't going to have those functional see-through scopes either. Since this is a Call of Duty port, of course, all of the models and textures look wonderful, and the animations are amazing as well. So if you're looking for a high-quality, modern sniper rifle for your game, this is one that you might want to consider. And you can, of course, make tweaks to fit your game as necessary. 300 Magnum is a very specific round that is only included in this mod, and so that may not be something that you want for this weapon, but you can, of course, tweak it to use something like 50 cal or something alternative depending on what ammo mods you have installed. Either way, it's a nice, big, beefy sniper rifle that makes a lot of sense if you're trying to play a sniper character who needs to punch through stuff like power armor. Now then, that's going to go ahead and wrap things up for today's video. We've checked out a lot of really cool mods. If you want to try out any of these, they will all be linked down in the description below. And while you're down there, consider dropping a like if you liked the video. It really helps let me know what kind of content you guys want to see here on YouTube. Once again, if you'd like to support my work directly, you can do so using that link for Patreon, but it is, of course, completely optional. And finally, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace!